Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Sam.
I'm Melissa.
And I'm Teffy, the sister.
The sister. Yes. We are so excited. I finally got my sister here with us today, and a lot of you have had tons of questions about what it's like for the women out there. I mean, because I share my experiences, obviously, and I'm able to share quite a bit about just what it's like growing up out there.
General stuff.
But obviously it's different for everyone, and especially the men growing up out there versus the women growing up out there. I'm sure there are I know there are a lot of different experiences that we all have. So
yeah, and especially for the girls. Like, there's been a total of 15 siblings that have left.
Yeah.
And only 2 sisters. So it's just Teffy and one other sister.
And one more.
Yeah, so she's like the super brave, awesome chick that was willing to leave.
Also, our family has a lot of boys, so.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
She grew up with a lot of brothers in the house.
My sister and I are right in the middle of 12 boys, so.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize there were that many. How many sisters total are there?
Oh, don't make me do math right now.
There's a lot of sisters too, though. There's a lot.
They're mostly older,
everyone.
though, or we have the 4 younger.
The 4 younger sisters.
True. Okay, so a lot of them were older. That's right. Yeah, it seemed like there were a lot of brothers growing up. So you're right.
I didn't notice.
So I guess like the first question is, you guys are from different mothers.
Yes.
But how close in age are you?
We are, what is
year and a half?
2
years?
Is it just 2 years? Because so the closest to me is Daniel, and so that would make about
we're almost exactly 2 years apart.
About 2 years apart. Yeah. So
okay. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I think you mentioned that, but yes, she's from.
I'm younger, by the way.
She's from another mother.
Yeah, that's super funny.
Yeah, but so just a lot of questions we get. I mean, what people will ask just in general, was it different for women out there? Of course it was. One of the big ones is it harder for women to leave? So as we said, there are just 2 of my sisters that have moved out, Teffy being one of them, obviously. So what was that? I mean, was it really difficult for you when you that decision to move out?
I feel like girls are more, I won't say confined, secluded.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you guys would always go out and work, and then come back home. Yeah. We're like stuck in the house and in the home all day.
Were you guys ever allowed to go and get jobs that were like outside of the home? I think that was one of the questions
some
someone had too.
families did.
Okay.
Father never did let me.
Yeah.
We went to like
it seemed
storehouse and
our
like church
rules.
things, like church projects and whatnot, and just.
But it was mostly I'm assuming you're referring to like when the community would go out.
Yeah, the community projects and like work projects and whatnot, but it wasn't like a paying job. No.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Yes, 'cause that's true. Us boys, we were out there working on construction jobs all the time, and so it was we were used to getting out there and seeing, I guess, other places, other states, even. So, but you're right. You spent most of the time in the community, at home, just taking care of the family, basically, right?
Yeah.
How long after Sam left? Because Sam left first, but like how long after he left was it until you left?
5 years.
Oh, wow. So it was like quite a ways.
It was.
Because I was 20 when I left, and he was 18.
I was 18.
And then 2 years difference.
Yeah, I moved out the month I turned 18. Yeah, so I was ready.
I tried to leave when I was 18, and it didn't quite happen.
Didn't work? Do you mind me asking, like, what do you mean, like, by not working out? So I was going to say, when was the first time that you thought, I don't think this is, like, the way I want to live? Like, when was the first time that you had, like, doubts in your mind of, like, I think I want to move out someday?
It's probably around when these guys left.
When I moved out, when your cool big brother left, and you were like, all right,
and we're like, okay,
I want out.
Okay. I want to do what he's doing. Well, you guys
I was
started
18.
The ball rolling.
That's true. Me and one of my
family.
brothers, we kind of started the whole thing. After the 2 of us left, it seemed like a lot of people.
It's like dynamos.
A lot of people followed.
Gotcha.
So you would have been 16 when I left then.
Yes.
And at that point, you already kind of were thinking,
Yeah.
I probably want to move out when I can.
Definitely question things.
Okay. So when you were 18, you tried to, and it didn't work out. What do you mean by it didn't work out?
I chickened out, you might say.
Oh, okay. So you had
A
your...
lot of pressure.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I had people coming at me at every direction.
So did you like vocalize that you like wanted to leave and then they're mostly convincing, or did they like physically try to keep you there? Or was it more of like a verbal?
Verbal.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I always say too. It was more verbal and mental.
You're going to hell and you're da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
They'd come at you. And then it's your little teeny siblings coming at you like that too.
Oh,
Plus
that'd be
the
hard.
Moms. And I'm like, I raised you.
Yeah. No, it's true. Like out there's so many, there's such big age gaps that they really did, like your younger siblings, you really took a lot of charge of, right? And helping to raise.
Yeah. And also our family was so big that like older sisters, I'd take care of their kids. So like my nieces and nephews, I can't help.
There were a lot of kids. If you start including nephews and nieces, it was a lot of children running around. So
yeah.
So did you? How many at a time? About would you say that you were kind of watching or taking care of?
Depends on the situation, but like 10, 12-ish at a time.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And that's in the ages of like 0 to 10 or 12.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Did you feel like when that kind of responsibility, like how old were you when you had to start being like put in charge of infants or like babies? Like
when she was an infant.
Well, it depends. I remember Molly Vaughn would sit us down and be like, okay, I'm going to leave the house. What happens if this happens? What are you going to do if this happens and this happens? And like walk me through like, no, if a fire started or something like that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like, because I'm watching all these kids and I'm like 10.
Wow.
And she just needs to run to the store. And anyways.
Yeah.
Do you feel like
small towns?
Yeah.
That's the way it was. That's the way it was.
When you started watching, like, was it kind of brought up that this was like preparing you for motherhood, or like did it get? Because we did a video and I asked Sam like, did he ever feel like were there like talks about becoming a father someday? And he was like, there wasn't really like direct talks. It was more of just example. But it sounds like for the girls, there was more like emphasis.
We're trained since tiny to.
Like this is your purpose in life is to be a mother. So this is what you need to. So did they actually sit you down and have talks about it?
They have classes, like recorded classes.
He straight up said he's like, yeah, the guys we never really had like classes or like meetings about it.
Okay?
I was gonna say, I'm like that'll just tell you a father running the household, like the amount of responsibility.
Yeah.
You know.
So I didn't know that there were classes there.
Yeah, home ec classes that you listen to, and
to prepare you
besides learn how to cook and sew and whatever else. But
was it more about to becoming a mother or what you needed to do as a wife? Like
both.
What? Oh, really? So this is like so they would tell you this is what's expected of you to do for your husband, and like for being like a wife as well.
Ish. I mean, well, depends on how detailed you like it.
Yeah. See, because
as an innocent girl, yes.
Yeah.
Put that way.
Yeah, exactly. Like household things.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. See, I didn't know. I never had any of that type of.
We got drilled those tapes. I mean, like, mother would always. You listen to these? You need to listen to these.
Wow. See, I feel like it was just so much more intense out there for women.
Yeah.
I mean, and I can imagine. I mean, you know, in more than just the responsibilities, but having to share, you know, your husband with other women. Polygamy. I mean, it's definitely wouldn't be an easy thing for anyone, honestly.
Yeah. Do you feel like you like mentally were prepared to be like in a polygamous relationship, like in a polygamous marriage, like knowing that you were going to have a husband who's going to have other wives?
Oh yeah. I mean, growing up, that's how we were raised. I mean.
So it was just normal.
Yeah. It was like I will have sister wives when I get married, whether I'm a sixth wife or a first wife or 20th
you
wife.
you mentioned to us that you wanted to be what number?
Number one.
The number one wife?
Number one only.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, growing up though, I mean,
so crazy.
Literally trained into becoming a mother and a wife and a plural wife. So.
Yeah. Well, and that was what we were taught is, you know, the plural marriage was essential to returning back to to God, you know. And so it was something that we all accepted and just seemed so
Yeah.
natural and normal, and something that we had to accept if we wanted to ever return to God. So
At what age, like as a girl, what age do you start going from like, okay, I'm preparing, to being like, was it scary getting older, feeling like you don't know, like what age did girls typically get married? Or was there an age where you were worried, like, okay, now at this point, especially if you left at 20, like were you worried about being married off?
No.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
only because Warren went to jail in like 06 or
Oh,
whatever.
before you
so
were
no one
old.
was getting married
Yeah.
at that point.
Gotcha.
No one
That
So
was-
makes
like,
sense.
yeah.
Because they weren't allowed to marry. Like, are they still
They
not allowed to
stopped
have?
the marriages and whatnot when I was going through my teens, kind of.
Oh, okay.
So you never really
Well,
had to worry
I was
about
like
that.
14, I think, when he went to jail.
Yeah, you would have. Well, because I was still out there as well when he
Yeah.
went to prison, and
So I think I was 14 when he went to jail. So it was like barely even thinking about marriage when he went to jail, and then he went to.
What was your relationship with like the mothers? That's a question that we get a lot. Is like, did you view all mothers the same? Was there like a different bond relationship with your own mother, or what was the relationship like with the different mothers?
So I personally didn't get along with my mother very well until my older years, and I was really close to his mother for a while there.
and that
All
that,
of the other mothers, actually. I mean, I felt like I had a pretty good relationship with all the mothers.
That's good.
Would that just depend on? You said you had a good relationship with my mother for a time there. Was that because of like the kids you were watching and that type of thing, or I guess what? Because for me, I don't know. I guess I was out of the house so much, but I feel like I had a good relationship with everyone, all the mothers, but I feel like my relationship with my mother was a little bit more in depth, a little bit stronger, I guess, just because. You know, it was
Yeah.
that's
Because you spent more time with her, right?
yeah.
But then like
And
with
she would go out of her way to make sure that she would, you know, take us aside and have talks with us one-on-one and all that. So I just felt like we had a little bit of a stronger relationship. But you felt in some, I guess, times that you would even had a stronger relationship with another mother than your own.
Yeah, I was a teenage girl, and I blamed my mother for a lot of my issues going on.
Oh, gotcha. That makes sense.
So
Well, and like if you're getting closer to one of the mothers, like depending on what chores and stuff you did,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Would depend on
And
it.
like when I became the oldest girl at home, like when I was like what 12, I was 11. I became the oldest girl at home.
When Priscilla,
wow.
that's right. Yeah.
And so then I took on all the responsibilities, and that's when I got close to your mother.
I see.
And then like I just kind of worked with her on a lot of things, and then mother got a job with father,
Oh, that's right.
and
That's
so I did a lot of the shopping and whatnot with her.
right. Gotcha. So you just spent a lot more time with
Yeah,
her.
I just
Yeah.
spent a lot more time with her. And then in my younger years, is mother Jeannie.
Interesting. Okay. So
It was like I was really close with her. I'd go to work with her and help her sometimes, and do different jobs, projects for her. And then as more of my teenage years, then I was closer to Molly Bone.
okay.
So it kind of depends.
Just depending on what-
Yeah, through the stages.
of life, like well, whoever you're
What you
spending
were
more time
doing,
with,
who
right?
you were spending most time with. Correct me if I'm wrong. Mother never had a job outside of my mother. Never had a job outside of the home, right? Like she never had a job.
When clear back when we were tiny
Okay.
for a minute.
Because I was trying to remember this at one point.
She
One
did
of the-
school. She taught school.
She
For,
taught
like, yeah.
school, but it was just homeschool though,
Yeah,
right?
just homeschooled.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
she homeschooled all of us kids.
Right. But it was still
The older group
within
of
the
kids.
home.
It was
Yeah.
still just homeschooling, like around the family. And,
Yeah, it's
okay.
just us and like some of the grandkids.
Yeah, I was trying to remember if she ever had a job that was like a paying job outside of the
Mm-hmm.
family, but I didn't think so. Okay.
And then what was like as a girl, what was the relationship like with like your father? Like did you get to have a relationship?
Mm-hmm.
I know Sam's mentioned like he didn't feel like he had many opportunities to because there were so
It was
many kids.
very rare to have like one-on-one time. Yeah. Did you ever feel like? Okay.
I never felt like I had a relationship
Yeah.
with father at all.
And with so many
Kids, I don't
kids,
know how you
number
would.
one and number two being a girl, it was probably even less time with him. Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if I talked to him, it was because he wanted something. Teffy, why is this not done? It's,
Like
yeah.
Like chore household stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was like what did the girls do for fun? Because the boys, Sam talks about like going, I don't know, being little rebels and going and playing outside and stuff. But you didn't get to play with the boys as much, right?
That's what we wanted to do.
We wanted to have fun
The two
outside.
girls stuck in the middle of all those
They were
brothers.
stuck
Trying
inside.
to sneak out with you guys.
Weren't allowed to get your dress dirty.
We wanted to ride those bikes, man.
Hey, we would build our own bikes from when we were really little. We would go to
The junkyard.
the junkyard. We called it. What did we call it? Howard Dreamland or something like that. Anyway,
Our dreams.
something like that. Anyway, so this we would go out there and just pick up little pieces and parts and build our own bikes, and then we would ride them around until they fell apart. So. And that's what she wanted to be doing.
Well, we used to turn snugs too, or chums.
Oh, that is true. We
And
did that for a while.
Like, father would pay us like what, couple dollars a bundle or whatever, and we'd save up money to go get tubes and like slime and stuff for our bikes.
Oh, to make bikes?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, everyone out there rode bikes a lot. It seems like there wasn't much more to do without having, the internet or movies or
Outside a lot,
music.
mostly. Yeah,
Always outside doing stuff. Yeah.
digging holes or bike ramps or
Yep.
whatever.
Shooting arrows aimlessly into the sky and hoping they didn't fall
See,
on our
now
head.
you know why we're always so jealous.
So what did the girls do for fun? Like, what did you do when you were little?
Oh, for fun.
Yeah.
When we were little, we were trying to sneak out and play with the boys.
Okay. So
As
some of the
older
same
teenagers, we'd go community projects, go like help. I don't know.
So you didn't have
There's
fun.
like a million. It was always a job. Always a job.
Always.
stuff. Oh, that
like
doesn't
it.
sound fun at all.
Yeah.
Fun was like sewing or that pretty much.
Oh, she was telling me the other day about how they had a certain number of shirts they had to iron.
It's because we had so many boys on in our family.
So they had
Button-up shirts that you have to press every time you wash them.
I guess I never wondered how my shirts were always so nicely ironed, but now I
he's
know.
just living that
He
high
just
life,
thought he was
man.
living with magic or something. I don't know.
Was it like assigned like a certain number of shirts that you had to do every day, or was it like a certain like rotation of like, okay, on Monday
Kinda
you do the
rotation,
ironing,
yeah.
on this day
Well,
you
also,
do.
Mother Jean would come home from work every day and she'd go iron shirts.
Oh, that's
I'm
what,
sure you
I remember
that.
Oh, yeah, she was just down there.
She's down there
on the
just
ironing
pressing
board.
shirts
Man.
for like hours at a time.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I can look back now and appreciate all that hard work, but when I was a boy, all I tried to do is get out of our room and sneak around her without her noticing.
Oh, because your guys' bedroom was right there.
Right there. So we had to sneak around her without her noticing, because if she notices anyone walking by
She'll
her,
give you a job.
she gives you a job. Hey,
She has projects for you.
We
She'll
were always
definitely-
nervous about Mother Jeannie catching us. It was always a sneak. When we finished our food at mealtime, we would try to sneak out before she would catch us, because if she caught us, it was dishes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
super
it was
funny.
Or
always-
sweep the floor. Or take the trash out. Yeah.
Yeah.
She always had projects.
That's
But hey,
super funny.
someone had to get people doing the projects. There were
Trying to keep you busy.
there
man.
was always a lot. I know there was always a lot to do for sure.
Dang. Okay, so you tried at 18 and they were able to talk you into staying, like guilt trip you into staying.
Yeah.
So what was like what made you decide, like when you were 20, like, okay, I'm for sure going to try to leave right now?
I kind of got kicked out in a way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I mean, they were just like, we don't want you here, so.
And it was that because of things that you weren't following the rules?
Yeah, I wasn't following the rules. I had contact with you and with like.
That was my fault.
That was a rule, though. It's
With
like when they
apostates.
left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With apostates. That's
They're not
what they
allowed,
call.
and that's the same reason we're not allowed to go back and be with our family right now.
Yeah.
Is because they're
No contact with apostates.
Exactly. They don't want to
So.
contact us because now they look at us as sinners, I guess. In a way.
Well, and because you guys can influence, which is kind of true in this case, right? Like the apostates can influence people to try to convince them that like they can leave and that they can be happy if they leave,
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff, right?
Exactly.
Well, I knew I wanted to leave. It's just a matter of time. I went and actually got me a job.
Oh, really?
That's
when
true.
I was like 19.
When you were out there working. I remember that. Yeah.
It was still just a community job, like working with people within the community.
But still.
So it wasn't like outside influence.
Yeah.
But it was a paying job.
Gotcha.
So.
Was that like a big no-no? Like, did the family like frown upon that, or?
It depends on the family. Father never did let me get a job, so it was after him that I went and got a job.
After he was no longer with family.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
See, and I remember I went out there and picked you up from Hilldale when you moved out.
Yeah.
And I remember your mother being very sad about it, and a lot of the children around, at least it seemed like they were sad to see you go. But I didn't realize that you were kind of being forced to leave.
Well, I kept sneaking out at night and whatnot.
Okay.
And plus talking to the apostates, and I was told a few times, you can't come home.
Gotcha.
And I was like, my stuff's there. I don't have anywhere to go. And then finally I was like, okay, I'll find somewhere. That's when I called you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, gotcha. So it's kind of like a perfect storm of like, they'd kind of forced you to stay for 2 years because of guilt, but you weren't like, you were like, fine, if I'm going to stay, I'm going to do what I want anyway.
Well, I lost my job first, and I was like, I don't have a job or anything keeping me here, so I bounced.
Just a good time.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And what was it like when you first left? Like, so Sam went and picked you up, but like, where did you?
So yeah, it was.
I actually stayed with you guys for like a week or two.
With us for a while.
Because I went and got my GED and whatnot.
Yeah, so it was just 2 weeks.
It might have been a couple more than that.
Okay, but it was, I don't know, a month or so.
Yeah, maybe a month.
You got your GED, and then you moved up north, right? To be closer to, because at this point, your sister had already moved out.
Yeah.
And so, it makes sense you would want to be a little closer to her.
Yeah, she was living up there, so I moved up.
And you were the only other, or she was the only other
she's the
girl
only
from
other
the
girl
family
out.
that had moved out. How long had she been out? I forget, before you moved out.
It was like 6 months.
6 months.
7, maybe. Let me see. She left in May, and I left in January, so
Like 8 months.
8 months. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm forgetting. Was she also just kind of told to move out, or did she?
No, she just left.
She just left. Said I had enough. Okay. I'm surprised you didn't leave with her at the same time. Was that because of all the responsibilities and all the kids you were watching over at the time?
It was because of mother, yeah.
Oh,
and what was going on with her there, and
didn't
feeling like you need to stay.
Didn't want to leave her behind.
Yeah, it was kind of a mess.
Gotcha.
Man.
Yeah,
there was a lot. See, and I moved out at a time. It was almost just before everything got really crazy, right?
Oh yeah.
Like,
I mean, it got crazy after I left too, but
even more.
You barely even got the tip of the iceberg.
Right. Things were as normal could be out there, I guess.
Like, it barely started changing when you left.
Right. The meetings were canceled and things like that before I moved out. Warren Jeffs had been put in prison and all that. And then just before everything came crashing down, I moved out, I guess. So I guess lucky me, but sad for so many others.
what were like some of the crazy rules? Because they had like some weird rules, didn't they? Like after Sam left, like with colors and with.
Oh, color was always a thing.
Color was always a thing.
Color was always.
I thought that was like a later thing. So what colors weren't allowed?
Red. And I got me a red dress. That's another thing that they were.
That's another reason. So and black.
These little rebels over here wearing red dresses.
So red. We weren't allowed to wear red dresses in our family. Red anything. I mean, if it's a red car, no. If red anything was just a no-go.
It was considered a sacred color.
Right.
And so
it was
so it wasn't because it was bad. It was because it was sacred.
It's a sacred color, so we weren't allowed to use it. Yeah, right.
Wear it in any way or have anything in red, really.
Yeah.
Right?
That's how it was in our family.
Yeah.
I know other families had red vehicles, and that seemed to be okay, but in our family, it wasn't allowed.
No red.
But it seemed like even black. And I don't know where this came from, because black was never taught as a sacred color, but I wasn't allowed to wear black shirts.
Maybe that was the wicked color.
Yeah. You got to have one of each, right? If you're going to have...
So... If I had showed up one day in a red shirt and black pants, That would have been the end. Yeah. No. So
So colors were always a thing.
colors were always a thing.
So what was one of the like biggest, weirdest rules of like things are getting crazy and now there's this new rule? Can you think of like an example?
Dude, there's so many.
I heard of things, but I
I'm
don't.
like, do you know? Like, I'm wondering if there's anything when you left that was kind of wacky.
When before I left,
Yeah.
no, nothing really crazy. I heard of a lot of really crazy rules coming out right after I moved out. So some of like the way you get dressed, that type,
Yeah,
that
the right
type.
and left hand things.
See, I
There's
was,
right and left hand things.
You're supposed to handle clean things with your right hand. You get dressed with your right hand. Your dirty laundry and dirty things with your left hand. Even doing laundry.
Really?
It got so weird.
and that wasn't this like some revelation that Warren Jeffs had that he was telling people to do from prison, or was it other leaders?
I am not even sure where it came from.
I thought it came from Warren Jeffs.
I mean,
That's
I
what
assume
was
it
told.
came from Warren.
No matter who it came from. Like,
Yeah.
so it was actually something that was like, would people watch you do the laundry to make sure you're doing it correctly? Because
That's me.
Because I'm wondering, like, anytime there's a rule, there has to be some way to like
Enforce
it, I guess.
Not
So-
always, though. They would teach us some
Were they-
things.
Yeah, they didn't like micromanage it on
Okay,
it, really.
it was just like, this is the
just
best way to
taught,
do it. This
yeah.
is how you should
This
do
is
it.
how we do
Right.
this now.
But just the fact that it was
Yeah.
expected, that was just so crazy. And then
Yeah.
for a time there, I heard that there was a certain way as far as food goes,
Oh, yeah.
that you could only eat certain foods, and you could only get these certain foods from certain places. What was that all about? Were you,
I heard about it, but that was
you weren't.
after I
That was
left.
after. Okay.
Okay.
They started the whole washing. Okay, they'd wash the entire house down with this special soap
Oh,
once a month.
Wow.
Also, you had to start in the middle of the ceiling and go out like this, down the walls, using your left and right hand like the dirty and the
I
clean.
hadn't heard about that.
Whoa, every single month?
Once a month, the entire house.
Oh my gosh.
We had some damn clean houses.
Yeah, seriously. Oh my goodness.
So was that a way to kind of keep the houses clean and sacred? I guess.
I have no idea where that came from, but it was
Wow.
special soap, like the creek made like soap.
To me,
For
it
it.
sounds like they were trying to keep all of the young
Kids
children busy all
Yeah.
the time. All the time. That's what it
Because they
sounds. That's what it
probably
sounds
feared if you guys had too much time, right? Like,
like. Right.
Yeah.
that's crazy.
But that is.
But then they
that is
took
interesting.
away everything. At that time, they'd taken away our bikes. They took away any type
All
of
the fun
toys.
stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And it was just work. It was, yeah.
Just work.
Oh.
I mean, I remember even while I was out there, we were no longer allowed to use the word fun.
Oh, that is.
You
true.
couldn't use the word fun.
Yeah.
No, fun was not. We couldn't
It was a
use
bad
the word.
word.
You know, now that I've seen movies, like this makes me think of some of the movies, like taking away. Anyway, I can't think of the movies, but it makes me think of some movies.
I think you're thinking of A Year Without a Santa Claus.
Maybe that's it.
When the
Christmas movie.
Meister Burger Meister whatever. No, Lila loves that movie.
Comes
Our little
and
girl
takes
and comes
away,
and wants
yeah.
to take away all the
So
toys
lost.
and the kids are not allowed to play. It's a Christmas movie. Anyway.
But yes, it reminds me of that because they started taking away all of the fun. We weren't even allowed to say fun. In fact, they said if you are enjoying something, you have to say this is enjoyable.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
This is enjoyable.
So that was enjoyable.
Oh man,
But
guys.
yeah, a lot of really weird things, and I think most of it came from Warren Jeffs. I know some things
Yeah.
were starting to get a little bit more strict and crazy during Rulin Jeff's time, but when Warren
Nothing like Warren's.
when Warren
yeah.
came into power, it was just like he wanted control of everything. It seemed like, right?
It went downhill fast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was crazy.
Super crazy. Going back to when you left, so when you left and then you went and like moved with your sister, what was some of the biggest culture shocks of like having left? Like what was the biggest thing that was like different than what you thought it would be like leaving?
Oh, probably. I want to say like socializing, like
Being able to be with friends.
no, what's the word I'm trying to think of?
Dating.
No, that sucked too. It still does. No, just like meeting new people and getting out there, and like somebody that's like
introducing yourself.
Yeah,
And
being able to actually be allowed to do that.
to be able to like talk to a complete stranger almost.
Yeah.
Like as a girl, we're so confined. I mean, like you guys would go out and work and like have outside connections and whatnot.
Right. I can imagine it'd be very different for
And
you.
as a girl, it was like everybody we were around and worked with, played with, whatever, was all Crickers. Or
Yeah.
everybody from the church.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So,
That's true. That's true. So then you could just, when you left, you were able to just talk with whoever you wanted to. Because you're right. When we were out there, we weren't really allowed to talk to strangers or talk to people that weren't members of the church.
yeah. You ever
Yeah.
talk to a Cricker and they look at you like,
Yep.
give you this weird look?
yeah.
Yeah.
Some people have commented that, like, that they went through Hilldale, Colorado City, and they're like, people were like staring at me, and
Yeah.
it's because they weren't really allowed to talk to outsiders.
Or they don't know how, really. Too.
I guess that's true.
It's kind of,
If you're not allowed to.
That would be hard to, like, learn social skills.
yeah. Like,
And in their family, oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I'm like, I still feel like I don't have very good social skills. Just from that.
Just
I
from
mean,
that.
never really grew up socializing.
When we first moved out, all of us, when we first moved out, giving someone a hug was just the most awkward thing.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm like, a front hug was just like, if we gave a hug, it's this little.
It was like
side
from the
hug. Hey, how
side.
you
It was
doing?
like, and it was like they would almost like shove their shoulder into you to kind of get you farther away. Yeah, just being able to give someone a normal hug, it was just.
It's like you hardly even touched each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
And
You
do you think every family out there was that way, or just our family?
I don't know. I feel like it's mostly our family, but
Because I mean, it was. I don't know. We were not a touchy-lovey kind of family at all.
Okay, so funny story about that. When their younger brother left,
Oh,
now
yeah.
my family, we're big huggers, okay? Everybody hugs each other. If we meet someone for the first time, we hug, like showing our excitement to meet them. And so one of his younger brothers left, and was he even 18 yet? Or was he still so?
He
So
was-
he
here's
was under 18.
yeah, so here's
16, I
this
think.
16 or 17-year-old little boy from out there, and I get to meet him for the first time, and I go to give him a hug, and like I go on for a full-blown hug because this is family, and he tried to do the side thing, and he didn't know what to do, and I like gave him, and then I like stood back, and I said, "Okay, we're gonna work on this, and next time I'm gonna expect more from you from this hug." And so like next time he saw me, he gave me like a regular hug, like it had been a couple months, maybe like 6 months or something, and I gave him like this huge hug, and he was like all proud of himself for like being able to hug me like a normal person.
You probably practice with
Practice on a pillow or something. Have to be ready for when I see my sister-in-law again.
Oh, no.
But it's true, like
It was
stuff like
it
that's
was
hard.
awkward. And I spent some time in Chile, and in Chile they are like super just loving, and everyone gives everyone hugs and kisses, and it's just And so when I got back from Chile, I was over the top. I think I went from one extreme to another. But anyway, it's very interesting to see people when they move out. It's the hugging and that is just very awkward for them.
Yeah. We're not a very touchy-feely family at all.
At all. It was. I mean, it was just like super strict. I mean, I'm trying to think of a good example. I guess like The Sound of Music, that kind of family where they're
Marching in rows.
There's very strict rules. We had to be up at a certain time for family scripture and all that. Breakfast was at a certain time. Dinner was at a certain time, and we were expected to be there right on time for all of these
School,
things.
even though we're all homeschooled, it was still schools from here to here.
Yep, school is still very structured, even though it was homeschooled. Yeah.
I feel like you'd have to be. Like, how else could you run a household that huge without having, like, a ton of structure? I feel like it's the only way that could have even happened. The only way to even keep everyone fed and, like, homeschooled at all would have to be, like, super rigid. That'd be crazy. But I was thinking, what was, like, the biggest, so you wore prairie dresses before.
Oh,
if anyone's
yes.
never seen like a
Let's
picture
talk
of a
about the
prairie
dresses.
dress.
Let's talk about
So,
this, yes.
yeah, couple questions. One, someone asked this, and now I'm very curious. Did girls still shave their legs even though their dresses covered their entire legs?
We didn't know.
No.
Well, and
Okay.
not only would you wear dresses, but you'd also wear like leggings underneath your
Oh,
dresses.
there was like layers on layers.
How many layers did girls have to wear?
We had our long underwear, of course,
Okay.
Oh, yes.
and then our
Yes.
and then the leggings, and then the slips, so that the dresses aren't staticky and stick
Oh
to
my
your
goodness.
legs.
Okay, so we've got
Wow.
Yeah.
long underwear, leggings, slips, and then a dress.
Yeah.
And then the dress was, of course, all the way to your wrist, all the way to your ankle.
Yeah.
Like the dresses.
Wrist to neck to ankles, or yeah.
Yeah. So was there? Because I was trying to remember what they taught what was the purpose, and all I can think of was they said that it was the only way to be modest, like it was a modesty thing. But did they tell more about why all the girls had to wear these dresses?
I don't remember.
Was it just to be just for
modesty?
modesty? I think.
Just modesty, and we're taught to be covered from our wrists to our ankles.
Yes, and yeah,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
showing skin, it didn't matter. Like even if it was just in the family or no matter what, we were always going to bed pajamas. Same thing.
Swimming in the lake, you're in your full-on dress.
Everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's why we didn't ever. That's why we didn't ever learn how to swim very well. All of us.
How could
Still
you
don't
in
know how to
like
swim.
in full clothes? How could you learn? That'd be so hard.
And then so people ask this question as well. What about the hair?
Yes.
Because there are so many rumors about why the women out there have the poof and whatnot. So what's the actual reason for it?
Yes. Tell us about the poof, Teffy.
I feel like it's a fad almost.
Okay.
I
So
mean,
it's like a little
it
bit of
just kind
style snuck in there?
evolves. Yeah.
Oh. So
And, like-
you didn't have to have a poof. What were like the requirements of like you have to have your hair like
Up.
It-
It was
So it just had to be
up and not hanging at all. So
Okay.
just braided.
So
mostly.
braided.
Yeah.
And but it seemed like it was like if you saw a girl that had her hair just pulled back and then braided, you would think of her as like a rebel. Like it seemed like the poof was kind of necessary.
The higher the poof, the more righteous you are.
That's what you hear.
Is that what?
It
that
was a
what-
saying, but
It was-
I don't know if it's like a legit like
You would-
church
you
thing.
would
but
see-
yeah, more of like a
yeah,
cultural thing.
It was just.
You would go to church sometimes though, and you would see women with like we're talking.
It's
poof.
like higher than their head.
Yeah.
I mean, like.
So you're right. Maybe it was just a fad. Like they just kind of thought, oh, that if I have a bigger poof,
Yeah.
Well, girls
the
are
better
going to
I am.
try to make some kind of style with what they've got to
Yeah.
be able to work with, right?
And then
So-
you play around with the braids, the twist braids, and the fish braids, and all the.
So the real question, the important question then was how high was your poof?
Do I need to get a photo?
yes, give us a photo.
Depending on the day.
Ooh.
You would
that
see
is
all
true.
you would see all shapes and sizes of poofs though.
Okay, yeah, what
Like-
was your go-to hairstyle? Like explain it. Or show me. Like
Give
what
me a
was-
brush and comb. Just kidding.
Seriously, we should do a video on that.
So-
comment if you want to see Teffy
tutorial.
do a tutorial
On
on
how they did the hair.
how they did the
That's
Could you
if
hair.
I remember how.
I was gonna
Oh,
say,
you'd
could you still
remember.
do it?
I bet you'd be like riding a bike. I bet
True.
you she'd remember.
So I remember seeing, I don't remember if it was you or another sister, but I remember walking into a room at some point and they were hanging off the bed doing their hair. Was that a
Yeah,
thing?
yeah.
So and what was the purpose of that? Was that
Your arms wouldn't get as tired for one thing.
Oh, that makes sense.
But, like-
actually.
Then you can get your French braids longer. You know how some of them come clear down the back?
yeah, because they all had long hair out there. You never cut your hair, right? Or you weren't
I
supposed
did,
to.
but you're not supposed to, huh?
Even like just clipping the ends, you weren't supposed
Trimming
to.
it?
You weren't even supposed to do that, right?
I mean,
Yeah,
I
I-
don't know if it's a church thing, but I don't think so.
Huh.
I remember, I don't remember which, but it was one of the younger sisters at one point got a hold of some scissors and just
And
went
snipped her
snip,
poof
snip,
off.
snip.
No, she cut her poof off.
Oh! How old was she?
She was tiny,
like three,
like
maybe.
3 years
Oh
old.
my goodness. She's
And
like,
she's
I can't believe you're doing this to me.
I'll show you how to be a rebel. right off with the hoop, with the poof.
Oh.
I remember that. That was
Took
funny.
years to grow back.
Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, especially if it's the front of your hair.
And it's like, it was so close to the scalp. She just like snip, snip, snip.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's so funny and not funny at the same
Oh
time.
man. So how long
Me as
would
an older sister trying to comb her hair, want to spank her butt. But yeah.
I'll bet.
How could you do this to me? Now look what I have to work with.
How
What
long
you
would
look
it take the average? Oh, I guess another question: would you girls often do each other's hair?
Yeah.
Okay, just to make it easier.
Yeah.
How often? How long would it take to do your hair in the morning?
10 minutes.
'Cause you got super fast at it. Just,
That's so.
Yeah.
I can't even do a braid on my own hair. Like it has to be like here, and I can braid this part. Like I can't do French braids. I
Yeah.
can't do. I'm trying to get better.
I've
now
done
that I
it on
have a little
myself
girl,
for a
but
while.
yeah,
That's
Man,
crazy.
well, yeah.
Practice.
One of these days you'll have to do a tutorial and see if you can get that poof back.
I'd
See-
be
see-
totally
Lots
I'd be
of rats.
So down for that.
Yeah.
I want you to do it on me. I've never had a poof.
You want the poof?
I want the poof.
All right.
I've never had a poof before.
We'll give you the poof then. Let's see if we can make
I
it.
still have my prairie dress. You want to put that on too?
Oh, you,
my
you still have it?
Yeah.
Just one of them?
The one I left in.
Okay, you just kept
Yeah.
one. Did you? That's right. You left in one, huh?
What was the biggest like style change? Like, had you been a rebel and kind of let your hair down a little bit before you left, or like what was the biggest difference in like clothing or hair, or what was the hardest thing to get used to when you left?
Hair hanging.
Hair hanging?
Yeah. Because you're used to having it up and out of your face mostly.
I can see that being. Yeah.
Yeah.
But did you go right to that, or did you like
Did you
Oh,
ease
yeah.
into it?
braid it? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I moved out, I was like, I was out for a couple hours and I was in a t-shirt. I was like, wahoo, freedom.
Yeah.
So, and I know that some people are like that, but we also have brothers that move out and they want to keep their,
They kind of ease
hard,
out of
ease
it.
right. They want to
Yeah.
keep their clothes on for a
Oh,
while.
I'm a cold turkey. I'm like, what was I told not to do? I'm doing
That's
that.
what I'm doing.
Yeah. It was literally.
So speaking of like the mental game here and like the spiritual stuff, was it difficult to wrap your head around when you first moved out? Because for me, I had my own, I guess, experience as well. But was it difficult for you to realize that okay, everything I was taught doesn't matter anymore, or like it's not important that I follow these rules, that kind of thing?
By the time I left, I was angry enough
So
that
okay.
like my belief in the church and whatnot was clear gone.
Okay.
So it didn't really
Yeah.
to you the beliefs and all that didn't really
And
matter
I've heard
anymore.
of things that was going on that we didn't know about because I was
I
talking
see.
to the apostates.
You're talking to us, the
Yeah.
apostates.
The
yeah.
apostates.
So then you would hear about things that we knew about because of what we were hearing on the news and everything else. So
Yeah.
you knew what Warren Jeffs had done and all this
Yeah.
stuff. So that would kind of open your eyes a little bit more for sure.
The only reason why I stayed as long as I did was for Mother.
Just to help her out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
That
I
makes sense. Yeah.
Stuck around for a couple more years.
Yeah, because
just-
I remember
Yeah,
at
for
one
sure.
point I talked to you, and this was quite a while, several months before you moved out, and you said, "Yeah, I'm ready to move out, but I'm just going to stay here
Yeah.
for Mother."
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so I remember that. Yeah, man. So many things. Yeah, for me, when I moved out, as far as the spiritual stuff goes, I was still convinced that what I was taught was the truth. So in my mind, I thought I'll go out and I'll explore and see what the big
And then
wide
come back.
see what the
And then
big
go
wide
back.
world.
Yeah,
I did,
seriously.
and then I thought I would go back because that's the only way to get to heaven. So that's what I thought. So I figured I would go back eventually and repent of all my sins and repent of going out and seeing the big wide world, and then
Yeah.
and then that would be that.
I actually thought of that. I mean, before I left, then I would be like, oh, I just want to go out and see how it is. Then I'll come back in a couple years.
That was my idea, and then I was gone for a couple weeks and was like, actually,
Just kidding.
maybe no, it was more than a couple weeks for me. For me, it was a couple of months. I also moved out with one of my brothers in 2008, so the economy was really bad.
Oh, yeah.
That was a
right. in the
bad
crash.
time to try to find work and all that. So it got really hard there for us for some time, and so anyway, there were times where I thought, man, maybe I should just go back, and save up some money and redo this thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, it worked out.
Was
so.
there ever a time that, like, since you left, where you did think of going back?
Not for like church reasons or beliefs or anything. Like when I left, going from like a huge family to no one almost, then that was hard.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it
because-
was difficult to leave everybody behind, not talk to them, no contact. And then you come out and everybody's, like, even family, they had their own lives going
Right.
on.
At that point, we were
And
dating or married or
Yeah.
kids. Yeah.
so you're kind of just thrown into this, I don't know.
Trying to figure out.
Did you
trying
feel,
to figure out all of life at one time? I feel
Yeah.
like that'd be so overwhelming because most people, most of their childhood, they're preparing for, whatever they're going to do next. Like
Yeah.
they're going to
And
college
that was
or
my
this or
thing, too.
that.
I didn't know if I wanted to go to school. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't know. I mean, it was just a lot of uncertainty.
Well, because before it was like already a pretty set path for you, right? Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
out
you-
there, you knew what you were going
You
to be
had no
doing.
choice.
I always knew I'd be a mom. Or
Yeah.
a mother. Plural wife, whatever.
Even the men
Yeah.
out there, it didn't seem like we had much of an option. I mean,
Yeah.
it was you
Go to work,
go to
go
work,
back.
figure out what you want to do for work, and then do that, and that was that.
Yeah.
There wasn't really, oh, should I go to school? What kind of degree should I get? That just wasn't really an option.
There's a lot of options in the world.
I know.
Yeah.
You know, I've been around, I mean, bouncing from here to
Yeah,
there.
you've done a few things since moving out.
But that's good though. Like honestly, it's hard to start like later in the game, but everybody goes through that.
Yeah.
Like everybody goes through trying to
Yeah.
find what they want to do. And you guys unfortunately just had to start that later. So trying to
Yeah.
figure out, it's going to happen later than other people who have been trying things out from the time that they were, like young kids, honestly.
and
So,
thinking about it.
Yeah, that's not your guys'
just
fault.
Like a lot of people know when they're a kid, oh, this is what I want to be when I grow up because they had the option.
Mm-hmm.
For us, it was like, tell me again what I'm going to be when I grow up.
Who am I?
Who am I?
What
Tell
am I
me
doing
again.
here? What am I doing here?
So yeah, I remember that too. It was very much just, for when I moved out too, it was very intimidating to think, oh man, no, I have to decide.
Yeah.
Now I have to decide what I want to do. So yeah, that was very intimidating.
Went from making no decisions for yourself to every decision.
Right.
It's a big change.
Yeah, that's huge.
You live and you learn, I guess.
Yeah. What has been the best thing, like, for you about leaving?
Ooh.
I know it's kind of like a big question,
Like,
right?
that's a
But, like,
huge
That's a
question.
huge question.
That is.
Like, how do I put that simple?
Yeah, because one thing that'd be hard to pinpoint, but what have been some things?
Yeah, there you
that
go. What have been some
that
things?
have been like really positive and good for you?
Then now leaving, you can look back and be like, I'm so glad I left because now.
Just figuring out who I am, for one thing. Because, like, out there, you're just told what to do and whatnot. I
Yeah.
mean, geez, I don't know.
Yeah.
No, that's a good one. Just
Have a chance to think about who you are and what you want
Yeah.
for once. Yeah, no, that's definitely a big one, especially for women out there. I can imagine you didn't really get to think much about what you wanted.
Nope.
So, man, we could probably go on for hours, but
I'm like, I'm barely starting to get used to this camera here, you guys.
and then I throw some crazy hard questions.
just as it gets easy.
Yeah, but
No.
go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna say, I mean, we could go on for hours probably about talking. I'm trying to think of some things that a lot of our viewers have been asking specifically about what it was like for women out there. Were there any more? I know the way to dress was a lot of questions. What it's like. Some people, you may know the answer to this as well. Some people ask questions like, did the mothers ever get jealous?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you saw more of that than I did, probably.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. What do you think was the hardest thing about being a mother out there?
I don't know. I saw, like, the jealousy thing, a lot of it was like, my kids did this, no, your kid did that, and da-da-da, kind of the fight between the kids.
Blaming each
Yeah.
other's kids. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. A lot of that.
Huh. I
You
mean,
made my kid do this.
Yeah.
Your kid made my kid do this.
Yeah.
Your kid made my kid leave.
No, I remember, and there probably was some of that going on. Did some people blame my brother for me leaving? I bet my mother did.
Oh, there was a lot of it. I mean, from little things to big things, it's, yeah.
Blame this, blame, okay. Man, I mean, it's got to be so tough to. I mean, they're still human, even though they were raised this way. They're still human. So,
Yeah.
so it's got to be tough to share the house. I mean, it's hard enough. I mean, when a mother in the normal world, there's only one mom in the home. When their daughters grow up and they're teenagers, they can't even live in the same house with their daughters sometimes. Now imagine being other wives in the home. I mean that.
No thanks. Don't
that
want to
would-
imagine that. I'm
That
good.
would be, yeah.
Not a
Yeah.
thing I want to.
Then you're trying to raise your kids or whatever, and then she's trying to raise her kids, and that's where the clash comes in a lot.
And they probably had different
and
opinions
the different
on
ways of raising them. Yeah.
Did they ever try to like raise each other's kid, or did they like stay pretty well separated, like in raising their own kids?
Now it was. I mean, our family was kind of
I felt like it was
Mixed.
pretty well intertwined.
Yeah.
I mean,
just because of father. I mean, like the mothers kind of agreed with father.
exactly, because he was the one that made the ultimate decision on everything.
Yeah.
But one of our older sisters from another mother than either one of us, but was really older than me. Actually raised me for a few years. She spent a lot of time
Yeah.
kind of raising me and watching me always. So a lot of the older children, or I guess sisters specifically, would help raise the younger ones.
Yeah, we'd help raise the younger
Yeah.
kids. I mean, like I raised my younger siblings
Right.
and my sister's siblings
Mm-hmm.
or kids. So my nieces and nephews.
So there was a lot of that. People ask how you could manage so many children in a home, and that I guess that kind of helps.
help.
Kind of having
Answers
children,
that.
children
Yeah.
raising children.
raise children, exactly. Especially, I mean, some of my siblings are plenty old enough to be my parents. So,
Well, we have like nieces and nephews older than us.
oh yeah,
So
yeah. So, in fact, it was kind of an interesting thought when I would meet some of my cousins, or sorry, I guess it would have been when I would meet some of my nephews that were older than me,
Yeah.
and I was like, "I'm your uncle," and they're older. Yeah, so yeah, it was pretty crazy. But anyway, the family dynamic brings the whole "I'm my own grandpa" to light here a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But
Did you feel like the mother's like self-worth almost was tied to like having as many babies as possible, or was that like a main priority and goal of like trying to continue to have children as much as possible?
Like the amount of children.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it because they were taught to like be fruitful and multiply the earth and whatnot and make babies. It's kind of their job
Gotcha.
and to raise them, I guess.
so they would feel like they were fulfilling their purpose more as they would have more children.
Oh yeah.
And obviously it seemed that way because they all had 11 or 12 in our family.
Or more.
Or yeah.
I mean, our family
other
was
families
tops
other
12.
families would have even more. Yeah. So that is just a lot of
So many.
those man.
Now you see somebody with 4 kids and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah, now even 4 is a lot. I mean, we have 2 and that's a lot.
Yeah, with our two, we're like, if we have any more, then we'll be outnumbered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can't.
Having the older siblings help and whatnot and other mothers help.
Yeah, I feel like you'd have to.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, made a big
Be able
difference.
to do it like that. But, well, guys, like we said, we could talk forever about this stuff, and maybe we'll have to do more videos in the future. But leave comments about things you'd like to hear about more, and maybe Teffy will be able to come and say hi
Yeah.
and do another video another time to answer
Ask
some more.
questions, even if they're specifically for Teffy, and we can either answer them through comment form or maybe we can have her back. So,
Yep, but thanks for watching. If you guys want to hear more about what it was like for them to be raised in polygamy, then like and subscribe. And we will talk to y'all soon.
we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.